We have a lot to talk about today. If you haven't heard about this, last night was the slap that was heard around the world. Will Smith at the Oscars got out of his seat and went up and slapped Chris Rock after he made a joke about his wife, Jada Pinkett. We're going to show you that clip if you haven't seen it yet, and then we're going to break down some pieces for you based on how I see things right after that.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Uh-oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me. Get my name out your fucking mouth. Wow, dude. Yeah. It was a G.I. Jane joke. Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
All right, before we go on this video, I just have to share we have switched locations, and that's because of this little darling right there. I came out of my office and found a whole bunch of things chewed up, so we're gonna just shoot out here and finish this video. Now, let's just first ask a question, because there's a pivotal moment here that we need to be aware of, and this is something we all are capable of having, is this emotional hijack. And we have to ask ourselves, what happened between this scene when Will Smith is laughing and this scene when he's walking up onto the stage to slap Chris Rock? This would be speculation, because the only people who are going to be able to answer this is Will Smith himself. I will share with you from a communication standpoint, the anticipated events are that he looked over to her and saw that she had changed from laughing to feeling extremely upset with this joke. Now, there seems to be a history of Jada sharing her journey with alopecia since about 2018, and it's a very sensitive topic for her. So I did not know this ahead of last night's events, and I don't know if Chris Rock knew this. Suspect he did. However, that's a suspicion. So I have a suspicion that when Will looked at his wife and saw that deep pain, that primal instinct to protect her kicked in, and he was in what's known as an emotional hijack, or an amygdala hijack. And when we're in this state, we actually lose connection with our thinking brain. So he was on threat alert and threat removal. Does this excuse his behavior? No, I just want to put that out there right away. I still think that what he did was inappropriate. It is assault by definition, and Chris Rock has that decision now as to whether or not he will press charges, from which I have heard so far he's not going to do that. Now, from a communication standpoint, this is Jada's conflict, and it's Jada's conflict to resolve. Will Smith loves her, takes on her pain, and it heightens his own discomfort that he may have been covering up with the laugh initially, and so now he's feeling even more inclined to act. As he strides up there and assaults Chris Rock, notice how he is when he comes back as well. So we're kind of moving on to the next point. The next point is his confidence in coming back leads me to think that he either wasn't thinking that there was going to be a consequence, or he knew that Chris Rock would not fight back, because he confidently turns around, walks away without any concern of a threat behind him, with the assumption potentially that he has already dealt with the threat and he can go sit down. But it doesn't end there, because the third scene is where Chris Rock starts to address it, and Will Smith is escalating. He does not feel like I don't want to speak for him. It appears as if Will doesn't think that Chris got the message, because he still needs to tell him to keep his wife's name out of his mouth. So what we witnessed was a drastic shift. And I always tell my nursing students, when the output doesn't match the input, there's a what the heck just happened kind of bell go off. And that means that we often have either overlooked some context, we're not aware of some context, or maybe we said or done something that has been a trigger for somebody that we're unaware of. There's a few things to consider. So when you do a quick research, I did this morning just to see what context might have created such an intense shift in behavior to the point where Will Smith goes up there and acts in a way that he doesn't normally let people see. Well, it turns out that since 2018, Jada has been talking about her alopecia and how sensitive this is for her publicly and bringing this to the forefront. There may be an assumption that you could make that Chris Rock knew this, and that is why he made that joke. There is also a potential he did not know about the alopecia and the sensitivity of it, but that he saw that she was, sharing this new haircut, and he just connected it to G.I. Jane. So that's some of the context that is missing when you first see this. Now, I personally did not know about Jade's journey with alopecia, and I only found that out after the fact, which gives me more information, which is typical in a conflict. When you get more information, you have a different picture. Now, I see this in the workplace a lot as well, when people are feeling like they're being bullied or there's ongoing conflict that just is not resolving, or there's a clique, is that people will take on and take ownership of the experience of another person, and it will create them to act stronger with more defiance than maybe they would have originally. And so for me, as a lesson for those of you who are in conflict watching this, is to not take on ownership of someone else's conflict, but to guide them and mentor them through a resolution that is good for them. So this would be Jada's conversation to have with Chris Rock in order to talk about how offensive she found that joke and what could they do to make it better going forward. Okay, so what are my top 3 lessons for us to take away from this short exchange? Number 1, don't fight somebody else's battles. Notice that intensity that Will took on. He may have felt some ownership in that battle, but it is not his battle. So don't fight somebody else's battles, because it's going to probably put you in a position that makes you look less than what you want people to know you for. Lesson number 2. Okay, now lesson number 2 is don't let your emotions rule your game. As we saw in this video, Will Smith's emotional hijack put him in a place that makes him look unfavorable in front of others, which is not the image he's been protective of and created and curated over all of these years. Okay, and the third lesson is actions have consequences. If you think that you can act in a certain way and there will not be any repercussions, you are wrong. There will be repercussions. You may not hear of them. You may not know of them. Another person may just keep them to themselves, but there will be repercussions to you, your image, your career. So what do you think? Is Chris Rock off the hook? I don't think so. I have a suspicion that he did know about her alopecia, and that he didn't realize how sensitive of a topic this might be for a female, or for Jada in particular. I shouldn't say for a female, but for Jada in particular. In that moment, you just never know how people are going to respond to what you have to say. So on both parties, there is an accountability that needs to happen, and on Will's part, there's a much bigger apology that needs to come forward. So that's it. That's how I see this interaction. There are many layers to this situation. We won't know all of them, but just to share with you some of my insights and my observations, and just to let you know and to remind you, you're only one conversation away. Not a slap, a conversation. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, drop your comments, because I do watch and read all of them and respond, and I'd love to hear from you.